And we heard a preview today on how both sides, of course, plan to argue their case during opening statements. And joining us tonight to take a closer look at these arguments is criminal defense attorney Brian Watkins and also Wendy Patrick. She's a career trial attorney and prosecutor. Thank you to both of you for being with us tonight as this highly anticipated trial gets underway. I'm curious for both of you what you thought the team that you play for did most effectively today. Wendy, let's begin with you. What do you think the prosecution did well today? They seem to be leaning heavily, of course, not surprisingly, on the power of that videotape.
That's exactly right. And, you know, Brian and I have actually tried cases against each other, so we're both very familiar with the way it plays out when you have sort of the opposite as you're used to seeing. Remember, police officers are usually witnesses for the prosecution, but this is a case about betraying the badge. So what you saw laid out today is dueling narratives, one death, two explanations. Many people think that trials can be won in opening statement if they are queued up and really the evidence is teased in the right way. And that is what you saw both sides trying to do. Not only is this case going to be about dueling narratives, but dueling experts, because you heard from both sides whether or not they're going to be able to prove how George Floyd died. Terrible tragedy, both sides are saying the same thing there, but the defense is basically saying it was a drug overdose, not unlawful use of force.
Brian, what do you think the defense did well today in pushing back against the prosecution's theory of the case?
What the defense did was focus the issue on the cause of death. He's going to have to own the fact that the knee was on the neck, and that wasn't proper, and it was on there for too long. And he didn't try to avoid that or justify that in any way, which was a smart move. He put the issue at hand, which is what is the cause of death, and he is going to make this a battle of the experts, because like I said, he has to own the fact that Chauvin did put the knee on George Floyd's neck for that duration, and no one is going to appreciate that. He's never going to be able to get any juror to accept that behavior and okay that behavior. But another thing that he did was take the focus off the videotape. He said there's a lot of other evidence out there, multiple witnesses, a huge investigation. And that also has to come into play, the other evidence. And the prosecution's relying heavily on that videotape. Now, the prosecution needs to be cautious and be wary about playing that videotape too much, because like the Rodney King case, where the defense actually ended up playing the beating of Rodney King more than the prosecution did. You know what that did? That desensitized the jury to the beating. And if the prosecution wants to rely heavily on that videotape and continue to show it, it may desensitize the jury, and they may be like, it wasn't so harsh, it wasn't so bad. Maybe it was the drugs that killed him. So the prosecution needs to be careful here.
And obviously, Wendy, the medical examiner in this case did rule the cause of death to be a homicide, but it also made nod to some other serious factors: the drug use, the high blood pressure, the heart disease, and mixed with the adrenaline from what they say was Mr. Floyd's struggle with police in the minutes leading up to his death. Is there any evidence to suggest that those medical factors did not play a role, because this is all going to come down to what that jury feels killed Mr. Floyd?
That's exactly right, Rob, because this is about which version of the evidence is most consistent. Is it more consistent that the death was due just to a drug overdose, or was it also due to the unlawful use of force? That is the analysis that this jury, and they don't get paid enough, and I know that's tongue-in-cheek, they don't get paid enough to do this very heavy lifting that they're going to be asked to do. But that is why both sides have so many evidence and so many witnesses, and that's why the experts are going to have to explain that. Would the adrenaline running through his system have been different if it was just having the drugs in the system, or did what Chauvin did contribute, and how much did it contribute to where we can actually say it's the cause of death? And what was he thinking? Remember, there's second degree, third degree, and manslaughter. So this jury has options to choose from. That is why you saw the evidence teased up as specifically as you did.
And Brian, one of the prosecutors did say today, you can believe your eyes. Again, the focus on that videotape. Those folks sitting in that jury box are not lawyers. They're probably not doctors. They're everyday folks. It is hard to overstate the power of that video. How, as a defense attorney, do you overcome, similar to the Rodney King case, when it seems like the tape captured everything that layman folks would need to know about a case?
You got to get over that first impression. I mean, you can't judge a book by the cover. And what you got to do is break down that videotape and maybe show it to them a lot. And like I said, maybe desensitize them to it and say, look, this isn't that bad, and this isn't that bad, and this isn't that bad. and a whole bunch of things that aren't that bad may not add up to murder. I mean, like I said, they're going to have to own the fact that he probably shouldn't have had his knee on his neck for that duration of time. And there was no reason why that he had to keep him there on the ground for that duration of time. But he has to break it down and say, well, what was the real cause of his death? You know, if a normal person that did not have drugs in his system, their, common practice is to put the knee on the neck. The defense is going to show that that's in the police manual and that they weren't doing anything other than what the police manual instructed them to do. The only reason why George Floyd died was because of these other factors. And that's what the defense needs to prove. Whether or not they're going to be able to do it, I don't know.
Well, testimony in the case is expected to last about a month. We hope you both come back. A complicated and controversial case, and I think some legal insight here along the way is so powerful, necessary for our viewers. Thanks for your time tonight. I hope you guys both come back as things progress.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you both.